Hey guys, welcome back. So last video actually, we got the seats in the car. So today we're gonna be working on the seat belts. So I'm gonna walk over here to the table, show you what brackets that I have and what I've got done so far. So let's walk over here to the table. So as you can see, I've got these brackets. I got these from Seatbelt Planet, the bolts, also the retractor mounting plates that's gonna mount up under the floor to give it reinforcement, and then another box of brackets. I had to buy 3 packs of these brackets to get enough of these L's to bolt the retractor, the 12-inch buckle, and the shoulder sling. And these are the seat belts I'm using. I got these from Jegs. Here's the part number, but I'll put a link in the description below. I've already got one side complete. I saved you guys the time and the hassle of having to see this. So let's go in here and look, and I'll show you what I've got done. If you want to use an aftermarket seat bracket, or seat belt rather, this is what it's going to look like. So it's bolted up here to the top with the factory bolt. You come down to the floor. I mounted the retractor down here to the floor, and I'll take this apart and show you some shots later. And then this mounts to the standard seat belt location. But this retractor, I told you last video, these things are supposed to be mounted 90 degrees this way, straight up and down, and as well as this way. But these Jeg seat belts could be mounted in different positions because they're actually a centrifugal clutch. So if you pull on this, it locks. Pull it slow, it works fine. Most of them have a pendulum in the bottom, and when they swing, it throws a lock out into the spring. But you could actually turn this one this sideways like this, and it still works. That's why I actually like these. I didn't know that's how they worked until I got them. So I'm gonna show you some fails that I had, and I'll show you actually how I got that plate. Let's go over here and get this plate again. I'll show you. Sorry for the in and out. But this plate was actually what I was going to put under the floor. I made these right here. They're 3/16 steel, and I thought I could just go under the floor and drill a hole and then weld these under there or pop rivet them in. But you can't get to it because the cab mounts are in the way. So what I did, I'm going to put new seam sealer in this truck anyway. But what I did is I took the seam sealer up here, took these bolts out, and raised this up with a long screwdriver like this. And I slid this underneath and bolted and pop riveted. You can see the rivets right there. All those rivets do is keep this from spinning. And I pop riveted it in to bolt my bracket to it. Now I know some of you are probably wondering, well, that may not be as thick as the floor, but it is, I promise you. And I'll show you in the next few shots how I know. So let's go over here to the other side. Let's get this seam sealer scraped up and start drilling and marking the holes to put the other seatbelt retractor in. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have to take these bolts. These go into your cab mount. That's what I say, in your cab mount is right underneath here, and it's a channel. And I was hoping that it was going to be flat and I could just drill the hole, bolt my retractor reinforcement plate, and put my seat belt in. But this is a hollow structure under here, and it's double layered right here. I'll show you what I was going to do on the other side. I was actually going to open up, take the spot welds off and open up the cab mount and fish the retractor plate up in here and put it in. But when I got it up in there, again, this is double walled, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these bolts out, and I'm going to pull back this, or peel off this seam sealer, and I'll raise this panel up. And it's easy, this thing is not very thick. It's about 3/16, maybe 1/8, I don't know. I got it from Seatbelt Planet, but I'll put the part number in the description if you guys are looking to do something like this, because you can't find the regular seat belts. It takes time and it's aggravating, but it can be done. So let's get these bolts out, and then we'll get the seam sealer off. We'll get the holes marked, drilled, and I'll show you what it looks like when we get it put in. I was going to do a time lapse here, but I'm just going to take these out and start on it and kind of show you, come back in when we get everything finished up, and then I'll show you what it looks like underneath when you take the cab mount loose and try to go up from under there. You can't get there. So one other thing, if you do this way, when you go to slide this retractor plate under here, make sure that you keep it aligned with the hole that you drill for your bolt. Because if you don't, this is double walled and it will fall down in behind here. And I just spent an hour on that side with a piece of stainless steel welding wire trying to fish that one out. I finally got it. I didn't think I was going to be able to get it out, but I did. So let me cut you off. I'm going to peel this up, raise this panel. We'll mark and locate these holes, and when I get this raised up and the holes and everything marked and drilled, I'll show you what I'm doing when I push this under here and get it lined up for the retractor mounting plate. Alright guys, here's what I had to do, and this is the most innovative. I try to do no harm when I work on cars. I try to put it back like it looks factory, but this is the only way to do it, and I'll show you why. Because underneath this is your cab mount bracket and you can't get to it, and I did it on the other side. I thought I could fish it up through there, but I can't. So what I did is I drilled out this one spot weld, scraped off the seam sealer, which I told you I'm going to re-seam seal this whole entire truck anyway. And I took a, well, I got it started actually with a scraper. And then I just took a chisel and raised it up a little bit. I took a long screwdriver, and right where that's at, I just raised it up. And now what I'm fixing to do is take this piece of flat bar, and I'm going to lay, let me get this bolt out of here. I'm going to lay this in here like this, and I'm going to slide it up to that hole. And you can see I've already got my holes drilled for my rivets. You can't do anything as far as put bolts or weld it. I mean, you could weld it, but rivets will work fine because it just keeps it from spinning around when you try to tighten the bolt. I did oversize this hole a little bit. I learned from the other side over here that you want that hole a little oversized so it can move a little bit and line your rivet holes up. Plus, when you go to put the bolt in from the top, it gives you a little bit of leeway to get it started in the hole. So, again, be careful when you push this thing under here, because that first one, I got it turned and it fell down in here. And I actually fished it out with a piece of wire, but I thought I was just going to have to order another one, but I didn't. So, for those of you that's wondering, well, this may not be as thick as the floor or whatever. So what I've got here is I've got my calipers, and I'll show you. We'll take a measurement. Let's see, roll it out first. Okay, now I'm going to take a measurement. Make sure I get an accurate measurement here. .56 thousandths, if you can see that. Now, this is an actual piece of the floor that I cut out when I put the when I fixed some of the rust spots. So let me see if I can find a clean edge here that doesn't have weld or anything on it, and we will measure this. Now remember, that first part of the floor was 56 thousandths, and this is also 53, 55 thousandths. So it's the same floor. So I did talk to the guys at Seatbelt Planet about using this to hold the retractor. They said it would work fine, but you do have to use the 90-degree bracket like I have. You have to use the 90-degree bracket like I have right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing slid under here and riveted, and then I'll turn you back on and I'll show you underneath the truck where I tried to go in through the cab mount bracket on the other side and learn from my mistakes. So that's what YouTube's all about, right? Helping each other. So let me get this going and I'll turn you back on here shortly and show you the end results. All right, guys, we're back and it's done. I hammered that back down. You can see I've got my plate put in with the bolt hole, and we take the retractor mount. Will now mount right there, just like the other side. This belt will come down and mount in the factory location with an L bracket. Now I'm going to show you, let me grab my light. We'll go under the truck and I'll show you what I tried to do originally. Bear with me while I get under here. So if you look, this is where the cab mount's at. And I took a one of those vibrating cutters and cut the spot welds. Well, I actually tore a little hole right there. I'm gonna weld that back up. But I actually fished that piece, that retractor plate mount, up in that hole. But when I got up in there, right up in here where the cab mount goes, right in there, it's double walled up above it. So that's why I had to slide it under. So I'm gonna tap this back down. I'll weld that hole up and I'll prime all this, drill me a couple more holes, tap this down and spot weld it back. But I was trying not to do anything that was, you have to cut the truck up to fix it. As you can see right over there, that's where I put my, I told you that was rusted out. That's where I welded in that where the seat belt was at. But seat belt's in my truck. Trying not to cut the floors and do a lot of hacking and welding, but if you'll take that seam sealer out and slide that plate right under there, it's the same thickness as the floor. Like I said, I talked to Seatbelt Planet. Those plates are approved for retractor mounting, so we should be good to go. I think the next video, I'm gonna try to, I told you I had a leak under the bulkhead over here on the driver's side where the electrical panel's at. I'm going to, I've still got a leak. So I watched Hardcore Garage and he showed the cowls, you know, he run it through the car wash and he showed the cowls was leaking, and mine was leaking there too, but mine's actually leaking around the square bulkhead connector where all the electrical goes in. So I bought some silicone sheets and I cut a new gasket. That still didn't fix it, so I think I'm gonna pull it out for now and put a little black silicone behind it to seal that off until we get the LS in it, and then I'm gonna redo the entire connection and put in probably a panel mount, Amphenol or Deutsch connector. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Please hit that like button, subscribe, and comment if you've done something similar to this, the seat belts. I'd love to hear your comments on that. What do you think about how it turned out? So again, like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching, guys. See you later.